I'm a hammer dulcimer player, and I play guitar, and I also have puppets and costumes. I dress up my audience and march them around. Money has never been my major objective. I do art as part of a conscious effort for social change and social justice. And much of our culture right now is embracing street culture.
Welcome to Happiness and the City. Here we are in Cambridge, and yesterday there was this amazing commencement at Harvard University, and I wanted you to listen to a little fragment of Mark Zuckerberg's speech.
Of our alumni and others around the world to enjoy the facile manner in which they are able to create meaningful connections that result in lifelong relationships. Thank you, sir, for staying on the mission of making the world a more open place. In this time when elements of free societies and cultures are making concerted efforts to promote insularity. Thank you also for collaborating with your life partner and fellow alumna, the brilliant and talented Dr. Priscilla Chan.
So I'll be commenting on some of the fragments. You see in this fragment gratitude expressed to the founder of Facebook for creating a platform in which people from all over the world can connect meaningfully and develop educationally and develop their connections. It is very important for us to know that this form of communication is created to teach people how to connect with each other through the platform of peace. Now, within the content of what is published at Facebook, we have people as they are. Not everybody is born a peaceful person, or not everybody becomes a peaceful person during lifetime, but everybody has a chance to become peaceful. So the social media is a form of platform of peace. And that allows people to create connections that will also be peaceful. Why I'm saying that? Because there is a lot of strange misunderstanding on the part of some people, and they want to destroy the very nature of social platforms as opportunities for people to learn about each other and create peace. And the effort is to start cutting the peace aspect of social media by introducing censorship and judgment to the very nature of platform. As soon as you do that, you have platform of war. It's the end of platform of peace. So we have to really stand firm on preserving the social media as platforms that allow peace creation. There may be a few people who are violent there, but there are millions of people who are for peace. So those who are for peace should persuade and create influence on those who don't know the value of peace. But if people come from outside and start judging the platform itself, they are the ones who are war creators, because then they destroy the very opportunity for creation of peace. You cannot have creation of peace by constantly using war as a tool. So, in order to break away from that spiral of constant war, social communication platforms were created as platforms of peace. That means they invite everybody in, nobody is excluded. And within that context, people work things out. Let's listen some more to this amazing broadcast from Harvard.
A member of the great Harvard College class of 2007 to create the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative and sign the Giving Pledge that will provide substantially all of your vast resources to very important initiatives in the fields of technology, life sciences, and education, and as well as the promotion of equality for the benefit of the politically and economically disenfranchised. And I would be remiss on this special occasion if I did not say thank you for using your t-shirt wardrobe to demonstrate to the world that male sartorial elegance doesn't always present itself in a suit, tie, and cufflinks. Most importantly, thank you for being with us today on our special day. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my high honor to introduce Dr. Mark Zuckerberg.
I love this place. Thank you all for coming out in the rain, the pouring rain. We're gonna make this worth it for you. President Faust, Board of Overseers, faculty, friends, alumni, proud parents, members of the ad board, and graduates of the greatest university in the world, I am honored to be here with you today because, let's face it, you accomplished something I never could. If I get through this speech today, it'll be the first time I actually finish something here at Harvard. Class of 2017, congratulations. Now, I'm an unlikely speaker today, not just because I dropped out, but because we're technically in the same generation. We walked this yard less than a decade apart. We studied the same ideas and slept through the same Act 10 lectures. We may have taken different roads to get here, especially if you came all the way from the Quad. But today, I want to share what I've learned about our generation and the world we're all building together.
So you see this amazing speech. I'm just giving you a fragment, and he's being given reward for his risk, because in early 2000 he took the risk of having this wonderful connection to Harvard. Being at Harvard, he is overwhelmed with the ideas to create Facebook, and now we have a wonderful organization with almost 2 billion people enjoying it, and potentially even more. And he dropped out of Harvard. So some people would judge him and blame him for doing this, because how irresponsible it would have been to just abandon Harvard and do something as risky as creation of communication platform. And he did that. He listened to that call within, and created an opportunity for people all over the world who would never have access to the world, who would never have opportunity to publish their own pictures, to write their own comments, to read comments of other people, to learn from others. And that's how we develop peace. Peace doesn't come overnight because someone demands it. Peace is a process of teaching how to coexist with other people, how to acknowledge each other, how not to be jealous of gifts that some people have and some other people would want to have. And the highest level peace is about loving one another as God Himself commands us to do. But that love doesn't come because it's forced on us. That love has to come from the spirit of love, which frankly only God can give us. So to have a situation in which governments demand people to be loving, and at the same time those governments, they have no love, is a very strange situation in the world today. That's why I am calling on you to be more firm in defending love where it already is, like in social platform. And I defined it as a platform of communication that is open to all. Because if we start really having those systems in which some people or ideas are banned, then it is a form of war on those ideas and those people. And I think that better ways are to promote good ideas, to promote better ideas of life, to have historical discussions that present evidence of what really happened in the past. Many historical examples just present only some evidence. And in my personal history, I had to learn about history from God Himself in order to heal, because my story is not in the history books at all, and yet it's so vitally important for me to have truth about my identity. So I'm calling for us to pray that governments all over the world will receive that gift of the spirit of love from God. Once they have it, once that spirit of love is within the authority, it really is spirit of love, spirit of power, and spirit of sound mind. Once the government have those godlike qualities, then they don't have to demand people to be loving. They will impart and have importation of the spirit of love on the people, and it will happen naturally and spontaneously. So that also includes the courts. What kind of strange situation is if the court is filled with hating judges and just generally with hate, and then that court demands people to be loving. It just doesn't work that way. The court has to be loving first, and to receive that spirit of love, spirit of power, and spirit of sound mind from God, which in practice means that the political authorities have to acknowledge God. It's not the same as in the church. There is state and there is church, but it doesn't mean that the state should be faithless. It is a different form of connection to God. It is a form of communication with the people under authority, but according to the will of God, to sustain life and to sustain joy and happiness of people. And I wanted to end this broadcast today by showing you something that I really was amazed to see. That was in Saudi Arabia, when it was the first time in a long time that I saw government joy. Okay. So this is just a short part, but it moved me very, very much when I saw this. Just listen at this little piece, because this is an example of joy in the government. And you see how loving this interaction is. It shows that the spirit of love in the context of government can create opportunities God to impart spirit of peace. And this is only possible because the spirit of Saudi Arabia is a royal spirit from ancient times, and that spirit understands how important joy is to create love in the heart. And you see that joy creates this wonderful, beautiful connection between the Saudi government and the representatives of American government. And that creates platform and foundation for peace talks and peace future. So this is being created in an amazing way. Now, can you imagine if the alternative would be that those governments would sit down at the table and start yelling at each other and demanding love and demanding peace? It wouldn't happen. So I thought that I would show this to you, because this is an example of what I've been talking about throughout the years, that in order for people to be happy, the governments have to learn how to impart the connection to the spirit of joy, to the spirit of love, to the spirit of power, to the spirit of sound mind. And that is a form of national foundation for peace. So what we have in social media, in which we have international platforms that allow people all over the world to connect with each other, to express their ideas, to learn about new ideas, to develop social knowledge and ability to express it, to develop virtue, because there's so many wonderful books and movies and stories available. And in this example in which representatives from two very important governments of the world in Saudi Arabia and the United States of America, they come together in the platform of joyful dance. And that is a symbol of strength in the heart of the government, because the sword represents authority, but the dance also represents grounding way of ruling. And I think that as different governments in different cultures have different traditions and different heritage, all of this is possible to be reconciled with the spirit of love. And then from that authority of the spirit of love, people calm down and people have opportunities to live peacefully. The biblical command is for the rulers to create circumstances in which people are happy. And how are they happy? When they eat, drink, and are merry, joyful, and do things that are joyful, have families, watch development of their children, develop their gifts and talents, develop ways to create financial connections. So I think that we are at a turning point in the world today, that old way in which a hateful government demands love from the people is over. And the new way that this video from Saudi Arabia shows, now we have a new way to be armed. And that arming is through the spirit of authority from God, filled with the spirit of love, with the spirit of power, and with the spirit of sound mind. Thank you, and see you here next week for another edition of Happiness in the City. And I believe that we are entering the future of peace and that we will be joyful.